All right, so let's talk about their strength feats, like who has the strength advantage, and we'll also
Ooh.
include the power advantage. Based on what Johnny Cage is capable of when it comes to fatalities, it's not an easy feat to tear off limbs, torsos, and even punch in a person's head.
Of
Now,
course.
I know some people are going to be saying, and I talked about this with one person about the ability to take a person's head off with a punch, because a lot of people say like, well, Captain Falcon automatically wins because his Falcon punch can turn you to dust. I said, well, that could be true, but we can also say the same that one punch from Johnny Cage can kill you with the deadly uppercut. So
Yes.
and they say like, okay, touche, I get that. So I'm just saying I hate when people say one shot this, one shot that, because it's like where's the fun in that? Like
No,
let's
yeah.
fight a battle till they get that final blow.
Yes, I
So
agree with you on that, and I definitely attribute being able to turn you into dust from Captain Falcon's punch. That has more to do with his power output than it does his actual physical punch. With Johnny Cage, he can physically kill you, as you said, taking your head off, ripping your limbs off, or even as his daughter has done in Mortal Kombat 11, punching you in the groin so hard your whole skeleton just pops out like a jack in the box in
yes,
your body of your body.
yes.
So I would say that okay, if Captain Falcon were to physically punch you, let's say if he wasn't using the Falcon punch, I would have to say his punches lack the force that Johnny Cage has in his punches.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree because I haven't really heard much about his strength feats. I know some people are probably gonna let us know in the comment section about Captain Falcon's strength feats, because I've been looking and it's not really explicit. You know what I mean? They're
No,
not really.
no.
It's not like really down like say, oh, he can do this, he can lift this up, he can lift that up and stuff.
Yes.
But we can say he's strong. He is strong, but I think in terms of strength, I would have to say that Johnny Cage has that in the bag, especially when it comes to like say his fatalities where he's able to rip limbs off and stuff. And I just want to address something. I know some people are saying about that one fatality that Johnny Cage can do in Mortal Kombat 11 where he repeatedly have to do the deadly uppercut and he keeps failing and it took 19 times to do it. I don't think they should consider that because it's more of a gag than
Yes, I
go ahead.
no, no, I'm sorry. You were hitting the nail on the head there. Yeah, it's more of a gag fatality than it is because in the past games, Johnny Cage has been able to do that very easily. I mean, hell, he's been able to rip off your torso very easily without much issue. So yeah, I attribute that to more of them wanting to be funny with his fatalities and such. Another strength feat, like when people are asking, okay, well, you say there's no definitive straight feats for Captain Falcon lifting something or say crushing something, but what about Johnny Cage? I'm like, well, there is a few for Johnny Cage, not counting the test your mights. The one feat that I could find is Johnny Cage crushing Sub Zero's ice sword. Now you have to consider that sword is made out of ice, and if
Solid ice.
let's yes, solid ice, and the fact that he was able to not only catch it but crush it like it was nothing, that requires a lot of strength. And bear in mind, if a normal human, unlike Johnny Cage, were able to do that, it would be very difficult. Plus, your hands would arguably have to be frozen by touching that sword because it's very cold. So
Right.
you could get some frostbite there.
Right, definitely. So we can say that he does have the strength, yeah, the strength advantage over Captain Falcon. But
Yes.
again, in terms of power output, like the power, I'm definitely giving it to Captain Falcon in this one because
No,
I
yeah.
haven't really seen what Johnny Cage can do in terms of like say destroy a building with his bare hands or with his shadow power, like the shadow aura, that can it destroy like a truck or something like that. With Captain Falcon, he's able to do that stuff.
Yes, I agree with you. There isn't really much offensive power output for Johnny Cage aside from the shadow kick, the shadow ball, and the shadow uppercut. But I mean, he does have defensive power output. We could give him that because of his aura shield, but even then, that still isn't enough to put him on the level of Captain Falcon. Yeah, he could say be protected in terms of power output from an attack like the Falcon Punch, but in terms of matching Captain Falcon's power output blow for blow, excuse me, I don't really see any evidence to suggest that he can.
Right. So, I still think that Captain Falcon has that advantage in terms of power
Yes.
output. And that's me. That's my opinion, and that's what I've seen that he's capable of doing compared to what Johnny Cage's is. Like I said, I always feel like when it comes to physical strength, it's different than the power that you possess to put out to make a devastating effect. So I think it's
Yes.
much different than like physical strength. So I know some people will
Yes.
say, like, "Oh, well, it's both the same." No, it's not. It's kind of like, say, oh, a stick of dynamite has strength feats or something, but it has destructive capabilities just by exploding with the power output it has. So
I agree.
with that, I really feel that Captain Falcon does have the absolute advantage in terms of power output in this battle.
I would have to agree with you on that. I mean, it also comes down to Captain Falcon's games are not grounded in reality. They're very much out of this world. Whereas, ironically, with Mortal Kombat, for a group of combatants that are facing other realms of combatants, Johnny Cage is an example of being very much grounded in terms of human Mortal Kombat combatant, very much like Sonya Blade, Kung Lao, and Liu Kang. They're not like someone like Raiden or Scorpion who can have a huge power output because that's their natural abilities. With someone like Johnny Cage, he is very much there's no way to put it. He's a fighting game character. With someone like Captain Falcon, he is, a different kind of game character altogether.
I agree. I agree with that. All right, so let's talk about speed, and we're not just going to talk about like how fast they can go. We're also going to be talking about their reaction speed as well, or combat speed that a lot of people like to call it. So let's talk about travel speed. I honestly think that would go to Johnny Cage in terms of combat speed, like in terms of travel speed. 'Cause I think he has a speed advantage over Captain Falcon.
Yes, I agree. With the shadow kick, that definitely makes him very fast on ground. There has been no evidence to suggest that he could run faster with his green aura because I feel like it doesn't really work like that. So yeah, the easiest edge in terms of travel speed does go to Johnny Cage because of his aura capabilities.
Right. As for Captain Falcon, when you see him in the anime, he doesn't really have much in terms of like very impressive travel speed feats.
No,
It's not really impressive
no,
in
it's
my
not.
opinion. So however, though, and I feel that in terms of like say reaction, I'm gonna give that to Captain Falcon because here's the thing about Captain Falcon. Like I said, he's a racer. He's a racer in F-Zero, and the F-Zero cars can go up to Mach speeds, like up to Mach speed, like the speed of sound. And it's not just a race where you're just driving a road. There are obstacles in that race as well that you have to consider. Not to mention the sides of the roads have death traps on them. Like if you hit it, it's gonna do a lot of damage to your F-Zero car. Like it's like these electrical pulse that pretty much hits your car and it drains your energy from your car and it could destroy your car and potentially kill you. So while driving, you have to have a really good reaction time in order to do the turns, miss the obstacles and whatnot, and that could be useful in battle as well. And they have in Death by have used feats like that. Like say with Mario when he traveled through this electrical thing, and they consider that as like reaction that he's able to dodge these things at great speeds. So I have to say, when it comes to the fact that he can go up to Mach 1 speeds, like up to Mach 1, not necessarily that it's going up to, because I'm kind of highballing it because every F-Zero car is different with different speeds, different top speeds and stuff. So I'm kind of highballing it a little bit, that in about Mach 1 speeds, he has an attention span. So that means, like, even though that Johnny Cage has the speed advantage, it might not be enough for to get at Captain Falcon.
I would have to agree with you on that. When I played Mortal Kombat X, excuse me, and even while looking at other Mortal Kombat games, Johnny Cage definitely has a decent amount of reactions speed. His biggest reaction speeds are when he caught Scorpion's chain in a helicopter. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, simple, because how often do you see Scorpion's opponents just catch the thing? Like, considering how fast that thing goes, the fact that Johnny Cage was able to just grab it and then just laugh it off like it was nothing and boast to himself, that is pretty impressive. Like, you really have to take into account how fast that is. And then later he caught Sub-Zero's Ice Blade, which later on he crushed it. Again, human beings can precisionally catch a sword, but it's different when it's an Ice Blade, because when it's an Ice Blade, it's very hard to break it. But the fact that he not only caught it with his bare hands and then broke it, it does show that his reaction speed is very much to a high standard in the Mortal Kombat universe. But like Duo said, and this goes back to what I said about these characters being from completely different worlds, Captain Falcon is driving futuristic cars that can go up to the Mach cone and Mach 1 speeds, potentially. So the fact that he's able to do that does give him the boost in reaction speed. So that means, while yes, Johnny Cage could react to Captain Falcon's attacks, I'm not saying he can't. He just can't react to something like that. Like, he can't react to faster than the speed of sound or potentially FTL combat attacks, because that's completely out of his range.
Right. And we're just talking about it from, like, say, a storyline sense. Because I know some people are going to say, well, he dodged Raiden's lightning, but that's in the game. That's game mechanics. You know what I mean? So those things you have to consider. You know, so now we're going to talk about, like, durability. Like, who has the strongest durability? In my opinion, I think Captain Falcon has durability down. Because while driving, you also have to understand, while driving those F-Zero cars, you get hit with a lot of G-force. And they mentioned G-forces, if I remember correctly, in Star Fox's battle mode. Not battle mode. Now I'm thinking my show. When they were talking about G-forces when it comes to Star Fox versus Bucky O'Hare, and they mentioned that, and they said that could be good as for durability, because you're getting pushed really hard with those G-forces. And we're talking about G-forces that go up to Mach 1 speeds. So, and I haven't really seen anything similar to what Johnny Cage has went through. And unfortunately, his skin is just as frail as a human being.
Well, I like to counter that.
Okay, go ahead.
About Johnny Cage's durability, this is where I feel like he got more to he got some shine in the Retcon trilogy. He's been able to survive a fall from a helicopter that was ambushed by both Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Both him and Sonya went down in the crash. He got out and he was fine. Nothing happened to him. He also, this is very impressive, he got semi-frozen. It wasn't completely frozen, but he still got frozen by Sub-Zero's attack freeze projectile, and he was fine. He took it to the back, and he was able to still continue fighting like it wasn't even bothering him. He was also able to survive getting destroyed telekinetically by Shinnok, who was just slamming him against a wall. And most impressively, in my opinion, he was able to survive getting attacked by Sindel's Sonic Wave. And remember, Sindel was able to kill most of the combatants in Mortal Kombat 9. So the fact that Johnny Cage was able to not only survive that, but come away with a couple of bruises, that shows that he is not made of glass. He is very much a hard man to pin down. Plus, he has he was stabbed.
And shot at.
Yes, but at one point in Mortal Kombat X, very much how the other combatants turned into zombies because they were killed and under Quan Chi's control. This Scorpion, somebody stabbed him. I cannot remember who, but he was stabbed in the chest and he was losing a lot of blood. He wasn't dying, but the fact that he was still conscious after bleeding and almost becoming one of Shinnok's puppets. I'm sorry,
the Revenant.
Yes, Resonant. Revenant, sorry. From Quan Chi, that is very impressive. So I think Johnny Cage is one tough SOB, but he is still human just because he has superhuman durability. There is a limit to that. He's durable, but he's not invincible. So,
exactly.
So I would say he would be able to take most of what Captain Falcon would throw at him, but Captain Falcon has survived much, much worse than Johnny Cage. Like, to Captain Falcon, some of the stuff that I mentioned for Johnny Cage, it wouldn't be anything but a cakewalk to him.
Right. And you also have to remember also, Captain Falcon also survived crashes from the games as well.
That's true.
From the games and the anime, he survived crashes. And like I said, these cars go really damn fast. Where, honestly, you shouldn't survive crashes or even explosions from that. But he has survived them. So that's why I was saying that I feel with the fact that he survived crashes and accidents in the anime, also surviving, the G-forces that it takes to drive these cars, I really think that he does have the advantage in terms of durability against Johnny Cage.
Yes.
And not saying, I just want to make it clear, when I say frail, I'm not saying that he's weak. What I'm saying is that he doesn't have like tough skin to the point where like you can't penetrate anything. When I say his body is frail, he can still be stabbed and he can still be shot with a bullet.
This is correct.
Is what I'm trying to say.
No, yeah, you definitely bring up a good point. The most Johnny Cage could survive is a building falling on him, because he has shown that that's pretty much the max output he can take. He's been tossed to walls, he's been tossed into pillars, survived helicopter crashes. So I would say at the very most, he is somewhat building level, but yeah, like you said, Captain Falcon just is 2 steps ahead of him in terms of durability.
Yeah. So, okay. Is there any other categories we haven't touched upon? We did power. We did strength. We did travel speed, reaction speed, durability.
Yeah, durability.
Their fighting ability, which could also be included as experience.
That's true. Yes. I believe we've covered pretty much everything. I mean, if we were to talk about intelligence, both of them are pretty much the same. Johnny Cage, even though he's a martial artist, he's an actor, he's a fighter, he's not exactly he's I'm not saying he's dumb, but he doesn't have a high IQ. When he's fighting it's pretty much similar to Goku. He doesn't have that big of an IQ whenever he's not fighting, but whenever it does come to fighting, he definitely is a master. He knows fighting like the back of his hand. He knows all about martial arts. He can pinpoint and, I would say, go up against people who are better than him in terms of martial arts intelligence, and yet he still comes out okay. The same thing I would say for Captain Falcon. I would say that I don't really know how intelligent Captain Falcon is in terms of on the battlefield or not the battlefield. So I say that's pretty much even. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. If we were to talk about weapons and such, Johnny Cage would also take that because he does have a variety of different weapons.
Yep, like nunchucks, broadswords. He's used broadswords before.
Yes, he's used guns. He's used pretty much about every other weapon. So yeah, I would say we've pretty much covered everything for these two characters.
Right, definitely. So now it's on to the question: who we think is going to win this fight? I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, thank you.
Who you think is going to win?
This is a tricky one. This is very difficult because I am a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I'm a bigger fan of Johnny Cage. As I said, Johnny Cage is very personal to me. He's actually, if it wasn't for Johnny Cage, I wouldn't be so obsessed with aviators because I did like glasses like that, and because of Johnny Cage looking good with those glasses, I have a pair of aviators, so I attribute that to Johnny Cage. And there is a little bit of nostalgia and personal bias going there, but when you get right down to it, these two are pretty much not evenly matched, but they're almost there. Like, I would say Johnny Cage, as we said, Johnny Cage has the martial arts experience. He has the travel speed experience. He has good reaction speed. He's very durable, but with all that being said, versatility and experience can only get you so far. You can be the best experienced martial artist on earth, but when you're facing somebody like Captain Falcon, you're essentially having to rely on using your experience against somebody who has better things than you do because they've been around the whole galaxy. So with that being said, I am rooting for Johnny Cage. I really want Johnny Cage to win, but I would not be surprised if Captain Falcon does pull off the win because of his power output, his durability, and his superior reaction speed. So I really think it is going to come down to, okay, can Johnny Cage take advantage of the Falcon Punch? Because if he can take advantage of its long charge and perfect timing, I think he can take the win. But if not, then it looks like Sonya and Cassie are going to be two sad people. So that's, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on who could potentially win. I definitely would not be surprised if Captain Falcon took this.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say Captain Falcon. I think he's gonna win this. And the reason why is because I think his reaction time is gonna be very useful for him in this battle with Johnny Cage. Where I think that Johnny Cage has the speed advantage, like travel speed advantage. Like I said, when it comes to driving those cars, you need good reaction time to do turns and dodge obstacles and stuff. So I think he'll be able to dodge punches and kicks, even the ball, the shadow balls from Johnny Cage. So I think that's going to be enough. Also, his power output, if he gets a really good, punch of the Falcon Punch and his other abilities as well, like the Falcon Kick and the Falcon Dive, I think that's going to help him get the victory as well. Like I said, he does have the power output advantage. In terms of he has been all over the galaxy. and he have seen many things, and he is a bounty hunter. So I would say I would assume that he would know something about, like, say, weapons like nunchucks and broadswords and whatnot. So I'm gonna say that might be helpful for Captain Falcon in this one. So, and as for durability, like I said, he survived crashes, and he's able to withstand the G forces of the F-Zero cars. So I have to say, I think that Captain Falcon's going to win this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and I think this is like the second time we have like a split decision.
Yes, I agree.
I think the first time we had a split decision was I think it was Nightwing versus Daredevil.
Yes.
And I thought Daredevil was going to win, and you were rooting for Nightwing, and yes, Nightwing won. So will history repeat itself? Will you get one over me in this one?
I don't know. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Although I will say this, and I'm going to give a bold prediction of what might happen in the battle.
Okay.
That Captain Falcon will try to attempt to do the Falcon punch. I know it's going to happen more than once in there, whether it's going to happen before he makes a hit or after. I think he's going to try to do the punch, and Johnny Cage is going to do the split and hit in the nads.
I think that's possible too. I would actually say that's probably the one of two ways he could avoid the Falcon punch. So it's like I said, if Johnny Cage even though Captain Falcon has the superior reaction speed, if Johnny Cage is able to dodge that Falcon punch and hit him in the groin, I would say that does give him a chance.
I think so too. So, and I think it might be like the hit to the groin, and then if he wins, if Johnny Cage wins, take his head off from there while he's hurt from being punched in the balls.
I agree.
But I think, like, for Captain Falcon, I think his final blow would be the Falcon punch against Johnny Cage. Which, if it's in Mortal Kombat fashion, you hit the Falcon punch and Johnny Cage whole body explodes. If it was in Mortal Kombat fashion.
No, yes, I agree. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, so anyway, guys, that's our prediction, and yes, I think that Captain Falcon's going to win, and Jedi Benders thinks that Johnny Cage is going to win. So it's actually a split between the two of us for the second time in doing these predictions. But as always, there's going to be a big split between fan bases, because some people's going to think that Captain Falcon's going to win, and some people's going to think that Johnny Cage is going to win. And we like to know your thoughts, who you guys think is going to win this death battle between Johnny Cage and Captain Falcon. And you're going to do that by putting your comments down below, telling us what you guys think, and we will gladly discuss and debate about it. And since that this is Jedi Bender's channel, please subscribe to him. Please. He has a lot of things special going on. And also, you have a Patreon too, right?
Yes, I do. I have a Patreon.
Yes, so please go to his Patreon. Please support him, because he's trying to bring out great content on this channel. Like he mentioned in that one video, it does take money to make good content, and he wants to give good content to you guys. So if you can spare $1, $5, $10, or what have you, it's going to be helpful for Jedi Bender. So please go to his Patreon and check out his Patreon so you can see what perks you can get for being a should we call your fans Benders or something?
Yes.
I don't know. Or fellow Benders or something like that.
Yes.
I don't know if I should call them Padawans, but
no, okay. And shout out to one of my only Bender, Padawan, autistic gamer Sean, my first Patreon. So like I said, that's another perk. If you donate to my Patreon, I will automatically shout you out at the end of the video via my voice or via text. So, go ahead and support me. Otherwise, looks like Jedi Bender's gonna take early retirement.
I
I know. Aw.
But anyway, guys, so I'm glad you guys had the chance to watch this. And as always, be civil in the comment section. This is just a debate. This is just for fun. Let's not throw some mud at each other because we believe one thing's going to happen. And like as always, Death Battle does not always have the final say when it comes to these debates because guess what? These debates never end. They'll never end. Hence why I'm so glad, and I'm going to still say this, that Wiz says, let's go through the data with all possibilities.
I agree. Yes.
So, anyway, so this is Do a Dreamer, and I'm going to say, always dream big.
This is the Jedi Bender saying, be air.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.